Greetings from the land of OP. I am Rob the OPGamer, and I am bringing you part 2 of my BigReactors build spotlight using MinefactoryReloaded to manage the bitch. Episode ran long because of some MinefactoryReloaded programming, so I broke it into 2 parts. This is going to be the start of part 2. Let's jump straight back into where we were, shall we? We shall. So the other thing about the cryo is it makes snow, so be aware of that. And I don't mean it makes snow as in it creates it like snow blocks. I mean it makes these snow structures here. Luckily the reactor generates a little bit of heat and it will kind of counteract that a little bit, but it's not that big a deal. This doesn't have to be cooled by source blocks all the time. Just be aware of that. Remember with the water a second ago, I just put them along the top and let it drain down. That works perfectly fine for cooling, but the cryo is a little bit heavy. It's supposed to be heavier than air. Or it's supposed to be denser than normal liquid, I should say. In terms of Minecraft physics is all fucked up as it is anyway, as everybody knows. But it's even heavier than normal liquid, so it falls through the air. So what happens is you have to fill the entire thing up one bucket at a time. But let's get in here really quick. I'm going to go ahead and switch this bitch on now. Oh yeah, C20C. It's just always hot a little bit. Let's switch this bitch on really quick here and see how high the heat gets. Holy shit! I cannot talk today. What the fuck? Okay. See, look at that. That's even better. So instead of getting all the way up to 3,000 odd like we did with the water, look, now we're at 1,700. We're hovering right around 1,770, 1,775, somewhere in there. Now we're at 15,000 kilo RF per tick instead of 4,000. Remember that? We were at 4,000 a second ago. We are getting 15,000 RF a tick. Now, this can't even hold it. Like, one of these cells is no longer sufficient. You have to have 2 because these can have max input is 10,000. But we're generating 15,000 RF a tick, 15,200 RF a tick, which means it is no longer capable of getting all of its energy into one cell. If I remove one cell, then we will quickly see, let me just take this off of here. We will quickly see that the cell is still filling up at the same rate up here, but this internal energy buffer is not filling up, which means you're wasting about 5,000 RF a tick. Now, I say wasting because, look, it's not in here, and this can only accept 10,000. So I think it's wasting it. I could be wrong, I could be misunderstanding this in some fashion, but it looks like it's wasting it to me. This energy buffer isn't getting anywhere. Where's that other 5,000 RF a tick going? I don't know. So I'm going to put this back on here. You definitely want to have, oh, that was funny. You definitely want to have 2 of these if you're going to get to this point in this build where you're having more than 10,000. If this is 10 kilo RF, or if you hover over it and it shows you more than 10,000 flux per tick, you're probably wasting some. You want to have 2 cells. 2 Agrarian cells. Excuse me. Resonant energy cells. Jesus. God, I cannot words today. Ah! Hey, yo, Rob, why you so nub? So yeah, this guy is just way faster than this. We could probably even get rid of this at this point. I don't even know. Let's turn this off one more time. Remember, we were at 1,770 and 15,000. So now we're going to break this open one more time here. I am going to trash this all. And we're going to break in here and we're going to replace all the cryo with Agrarian. Because Agrarian is supposed to be the best cooling agent that it has available to it. So let's just go ahead and empty bucket this all out of here. It's going to take a few minutes here, but I can do it. It's quicker than when I was placing it down, because placing down buckets, you have to target things. Oh, shit. You have to target things really carefully. Why are you not going anywhere? I guess it just takes a few moments there. I think I got it all, though, already. So while we're waiting on that, I accidentally opened up the fuel port right now, as you saw, and look, we got a cyanide ingot. So that's what happens. You burn up this guy, and you get cyanide as waste, quote-unquote. But remember that cyanide is capable of being used at a later point. So just keep in mind that you can use the cyanide later and not have to worry about it and get rid of that snow, because fuck the snow. I guess I did miss some of that cryo really quick here. There we go. Is that it? Yes? There we go. Now it's going away. So we'll do Agrarian now. You don't have to put every block of Agrarian. I don't know if you did, if that would help any. Oh, come on, just go away. That shit hangs around like lava, I swear to God. Where is that coming from? Did I miss something? It's like blinking away and then coming back. What's the deal? Alright, should be empty now. So, unlike the, whoa. Unlike the cryotheum, you can go back to your regular water mechanics, and you can only put the Enderium up in the top. I was really worried about that when I first did this, because I'm like, oh shit, that's going to be a lot of Enderium. It's going to be a lot of Ender Pearls, but no, you just need enough buckets to go all the way around the top. 4 Ender Pearls per Enderium bucket. Oh shit, that was fucking stupid. 4 Ender Pearls per bucket. You're going to need 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 buckets of Enderium. Cool. And this is how my reactor looks in my actual play, because I used Enderium when I did this. So we're done with the buckets there. Just keep in mind, danger notice, danger, Will Robinson, danger. You will fuck yourself like crazy if you fall in this while you're putting this in here and you have a 2 thick platform or a 1 thick platform. Because Enderium, liquid Enderium, let me just get some more buckets really quick here. Bucket. Buck. Enderium, if placed in the world, let's just go ahead and make a little hole right here really quick. And you stand in it, we'll teleport you. Bam. You see how I got teleported ways away? It's just like using an Ender Pearl, but it's in a random direction. See, now I'm on top of the house. This shit... Oh, I'm on top of the opposite side of the house. That's cute. This shit is capable of teleporting you downwards. So if you have like just a couple thick platform, it will teleport your ass straight into the void, and you will be sour as fuck about life. So just as a fair warning right there, guys, because you don't want to have that happen. You're like got all your shit on you. You've got your builder's wand that's cost you 8 diamonds. You've got all kinds of stuff on you, and you fall into your reactor and it teleports you down through your platform, and you die. You will be sour. Let me tell you right now. It almost happened to me. Luckily, I built a tower, so I was on like my 3rd floor, so it couldn't have teleported me into the void. But I had that thought while I was building. I'm like, holy shit! Be careful! Be careful! Oh my god. Okay, so now we got Enderium in there. Let's switch this bitch on one more time. Boom! So now, instead of getting clear up into the 17... Oh, we got back into the 17s. 18s. Wow. So we're actually hotter and not getting as much RF. Now we're getting 14,000. We were getting 15.5 to 16 in there a second ago with the cryotheum. But now we're getting 14. Huh. I thought the Enderium was better. That's interesting. I didn't look at the fuel reactivity, though, and the... I'm going to have to go back and watch that in a second here, I think. I have to compare these numbers, guys. Hang on a second. Let me go compare these numbers really quick. I have to go back and look at the video. I just double-checked the video. The millibuckets per tick was 306, and the fuel reactivity was 407. So, all these numbers that I'm looking at here, it's just like the cryotheum is a tad bit cooler, gives you a tad more power, gives you a tad more gives you a tad better fuel burn-up rate and reactivity rate. So, actually, the cryotheum is better by like a hair. It's like almost negligible. It's about as much better. I don't know, man. It's the difference could probably just barely be fit into a plumber crack. There's like no difference hardly at all. It's just slightly difference. So I really thought it was better. Like from what I was given to understand, like the Enderium was just a lot better. Apparently not though. But look at this cell's full. Just about. This cell's not quite full. This guy's still plugging along. He's at 7 million, almost 8 million RF. Let's check his heat. 695. So yeah, this is actually if you don't want to liquid cool one of these, then don't worry about it. But if you do want to liquid cool one of these for a little bit more power, I want to do one more test here. I'm going to shut this bitch off. This is obviously the biggest and best possible. Let's do this because I'm curious right now. This is actually a test I'm going to make really quick. Let's shut this guy off. He was at... No, I should turn him on. He was hovering around 700 odd, 600 odd, high 6, low 7s. This was at 8 when we first turned this on. 208, 0.02. This is really low, 100%. Okay, cool. Let's turn this off. The only difference we're going to do here, I'm going to get my Enderium buckets again. Where's my Enderium bucket? There we go. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to break this guy down a little bit. So all we're going to do here is we're going to extend him from a 3x3 to a 5x5. That's it. That's all we're going to do. It's the only difference. So let's pop this all out here. And I'm going to extend this out like that. That's 4. We need one more. And the reason why we're going to go from a 3x3 to a 5x5 is because we're going to only have the one fuel rod in the center like we did a second ago. Oh wow, it filled up with the fuel that was in there. That's interesting. That might be some weird creative thing. I don't know. We're going to get in here and we're going to do the one fuel rod just like a second ago in the center. And I am going to liquid cool this with Endurium, and we're going to see what the difference in the numbers is, just because I'm curious now. Just because I want to know. I'm curious, guys. So we'll get that going, and we will get... We need a controller still. Where's my controller? There it is. I'm going to put this right next to the power, actually, so we can see it. And we got the power tap, and we don't need the redstone, because fuck that. Now let's get some Endurium in here. So it's not any bigger in terms of how much fuel it can hold, but it's being cooled now. You see that? So we're just going to cover this up. And you notice I didn't make it any taller. This structure can be any size from a 3x3 to a 7x7 and anything in between. So that 3x3 that we had, it could be 3x3 by 7 tall if you wanted it to. Or it can never be any higher than 3 tall and you can make it 7 wide. In fact, that's what Xavier did in our actual playthrough. He had exactly what this is, except for it was only 3 high. So he only had a 3x3 fuel rod in the center with Endurium all the way around like this, except for it was 7 wide. So you can make these, these are pretty modular. You can make them however size you want to. So it looks like we've still got a lot of fuel in there. Oh wow, it kept its depletion. It kept its... Wow, look at that. It kept its fuel, its depletion. That's interesting. I wonder what keeps that data. Because I destroyed the fuel rod and the fuel control rod at the top. And I destroyed the controller. The power tap is the only thing I didn't destroy, so I wonder if that's what kept it, or if it's stored in one of the blocks. Maybe it's stored in the center block, because I didn't destroy the center block. That's interesting. Well, let's turn this on and see what we get out of this. This should better our numbers quite... Wow! Damn, the difference is night and day. So instead of being up in the 800s of Cs, we're now in 200. And instead of being... how much RF did we get a second ago? Fuck, I don't even remember. God damn it, I am so bad. Oh my god, I am so nub right now. I can't even believe how nub. Let me go check what the numbers were on that. Hang on, guys. I am so fucking noob, I can't even believe it. Oh god, I mentioned them, I talked about the numbers, I'm like, okay, now let's check this, and then I totally just switched it off, and it was... God, couldn't even remember the numbers for like 2 minutes. So this is way lower heat. This was up in the high 600s, almost 700s. When we first turned this on at entire full energy, at entirely full fuel, this was up at 800 odd heat when we first turned it on, and then we were at around like 100. We were around like 180 to 207, somewhere in there RF a tick. Now we're getting 330. We're at about the same burn-up rate, and we're at about the same fuel reactivity. And by about, I mean exactly. 0.02 and 100%. So basically, it doesn't really alter these, but as simply as cooling it a little bit, we get a lot better heat, and we get a lot more flux per tick. We increased our flux per tick by almost 50% right there. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna say that right now. That's really good. So yeah, that's gonna be our reactor, I think, build spotlight reactor. Let's I'll go ahead and show you guys one other thing you can do, because obviously you want this reactor here in order to turn on and off. There's a couple things you can do. Xavier figured out some crazy ass way that you can make it so that if it detects energy in the buffer, it will turn off. That was using a MinefactoryReloaded. Let's look at MFR really quick. At Minefac. Oh shit. Minefac. There we go. Using one of these guys, the programmable rednet controller. He figured out, because in Agrarian skies we don't have redstone. We don't have redstone gates, redstone logic, any sort of redstone replacers. All we have is MinefactoryReloaded. And he was able to get one of these guys, and then you get a rednet cable, and then if you place one of these down here and just stick this on top, it goes plugs right into there. And I don't mean it plugs in like it connects to it. See how this gets the white band and it gets like the little connection thing, and you can get like little. It looks like it's just touching it. This goes into it. You can see that the graphic looks like it's going inside. And if you tell this thing what you want it to do, it will operate based on that principle. Okay. So basically, what happens here is you can tell this guy things that you can do with this. And you can tell it to turn off and on with like your timers and that kind of stuff. This is the only way that we have in order to operate in terms of a logic system, so that we can make this thing mess withable. That was a really fucking bad word. Anyway, so inside the RedNet reactor control port, you can tell each color to do something different. Like I showed a few minutes ago, how you can tell the redstone port to do one of these. You can have 50 redstone ports all along the edges of this if you want to, and wire the shit out of this bitch. Or you can give it a RedNet port, and it can be interacted. Each color can do each of the things, each of the symbols you saw in the redstone port, in the RedNet port has those same symbols, and you can assign them to each of the different colors. So you can tell orange, for example, just click and drag. Oh no, it's just a single click, sorry. Click, and then click. Or click it off, click, and then click. You can make each color do different things. And then you can select them to tell which one you're configuring over here. So it activates level on pulse or on level. Come over here, control rod, different fuel levels, I guess. This is which control rod you're messing with. And it's based on a coordinate system. So whichever one of these fuel rods is at each coordinate, you got to find that out in order to mess with those. But it doesn't actually do anything until you click commit. So you can say orange, I want orange to power, commit. So when you hit escape and then go back in there, you can see it's still there. So anytime it receives a signal on orange, it will turn on. And then you can come in here, you can tell us, hey, on a timer of however many minutes, whatever. That's what I did. That was the simplest way to do that, was I went in here and I set up a timer so that it could be, your timer is your wave square timer. And then there's another way to do it to extend it past 255 ticks. Because if you right click this, there we go. And then you can do this, and you can say up, and you can say orange. And the reason why you say that is because the cable's coming out of the top of this guy, so you go up. And then so every 255 ticks, this will turn this off and on. I think I need to set this to pulse though. Yeah, commit. There we go. So now it's on, look. It just turned on. 255 ticks later, which is, what is that, 3 minutes? No. There's 20 ticks in a second, 210 seconds. So this is every like 12 and a half, 14 seconds or so. This will turn off again. So you can have this going on and off every like 15 seconds or so, every 10 to 15 seconds, it'll turn itself on and off. See, look, now it's off. Do you see that? See how it went from green, now it's off, and it's powering down? The energy buffer's starting to fill up. So that's how to do that. There's a way to do the, what is this? I forget if it's, oh, it's the counter, sorry. If you go up here and do a counter, there we go. So you can increment, decrement, pre, and R. You don't need to mess with any of these. What you want to do is you go to the pre, and you can set this guy to variable 1. No, sorry. Set that to variable 1. And then you set this guy to constant. You tell this like, you can tell us 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. And the counter will count this many. It'll count 1, it'll count 2, it'll count 3, and it'll count this many times, and it won't activate the next page. It won't activate variable 1 until it's counted all the way through. Okay? So it'll go count, it'll go count, it'll go count, and I'm pretty sure it counts seconds. And then if we go next, we can come down here to our timer. There we go. And we can tell this on variable 1, orange. See that? So when we go as previous here, that's not right. Now, hang on a second. I'm doing this wrong. Let me go check. Alright, so I am so fucking noob. I actually had to go and switch servers and go back to my girlfriend's server. Blue Fairy server, and I actually had to go see what I did there because I had this backwards. So you want page 1 to be the timer. Where's the timer? Timer! There we go. I'm so noob I had this backwards. So we'll do that to 255, just right click to go backwards. Like so. 240, If we set this to 240, for example, that's going to be 12 seconds. And then you tell us variable 1. And then next over here, you set this guy to the counter. Bam. And then you tell this on variable 1. Increment from when you get a signal from variable 1. And then a constant, you set this guy to how many times you want him to count before he puts out a signal. So if we count up to like 5, this is going to be, and then you leave this IOU orange up. See that? So you leave that alone. And so this is going to be how many ticks before the timer pulses. And this is going to be how many times to count the pulses. Make sense? So this is going to count 5 times of 240 ticks. So this is 1,080 ticks. Or no, excuse me. This is going to be 1,200 ticks, basically. Okay? Makes sense? Which is going to be 60 seconds. So this is going to be every minute, this will output a pulse to orange. And then if you connect your cable into that guy, then he will turn on and off and on every 60 seconds. That is how you break the barrier. There's a barrier. Oh, does this actually go down, I think? No, that. Nope. Buffer stays intact. Cool. I just wanted to see if this was not on and not being used, if this buffer would slowly deplete, but I guess it doesn't. So you can use that as a battery too. That's kind of cool. 10 million RF. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 10 million RF. So it's got a fifth of the power of a resonance cell. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah. That's how to adjust that. And the counter, how high does this go? Let me just back this up. 255. Holy shit. 240 ticks times 255 pulses. 61,200. 1,020 minutes. So you can make this go every 17 hours if you wanted to. But keep in mind that this is going to be how long it's off and then how long it's on. So if you set this to 5 like we had it before, so it goes off and on every 1 minute, this is right now, it's set every 1 minute, okay? So it will be on for 1 minute, and then off for 1 minute, and then on for 1 minute, and then off for 1 minute, okay? So if you double this, it'll be 2 minutes. So on for 2 minutes, off for 2 minutes. On for 2 minutes, off for 2 minutes. So that's how I controlled it in my server. I set it to 3 minutes. So this was 15. So I set it to 3. Actually, I had it on 18. This was 8. In my server, in our regular play on my actual playthrough with Blue Fairy server. God, I cannot words today. This was 18, and I had this at... Whoops, not next. I had this at 200 instead of 240. And it worked. The math comes out the same way. It was on for 3 minutes, off for 3 minutes. And that kind of kept me going, but there was still a little bit of waste because my energy cells would fill up, and this would still run for about another like 40 seconds or so. But really the only limiting factor is with your base, when you're building all your machines through your base and making your platform and stuff, how much power are you consuming? Are you consuming enough power that you need it on for a longer period of time? But then you also got to keep in mind how many energy cells you have for battery power, because if you don't have enough battery cells while it's off, you'll deplete and your base will power down. So you got to strike a balance. The only bad way about my method is that you have to strike a balance between energy cells and power output, and how long you have to store that kind of shit. Xavier came up with a crazy-ass way. Actually, he just got on. Let me see if I can get him to get on really quick. Hang on, guys. 1 second. Alright, guys. So apparently Xavier is just too busy to deign to grace us with his presence, so nuts to that guy. I did, however, get him to send me his flowchart that he created, and maybe this will make sense to some of you guys. It makes enough sense to me. I was able to puzzle out how to make it work, but it didn't for some reason. It just, when I did my normal play, maybe I clicked something incorrectly, but it didn't work for me. But he sent me his flowchart. It works for him on his server. I've gone over to his base and seen it. Let me just pop this up here really quick. This is a image of his. This is my image viewer. Scroll this and make this a little bit bigger for you guys to check it out there. Basically, this is the flowchart and how to make the programmable RedNet controller look. And if you want to take a second, make a quick screenshot of this so you can have it for yourself as well, go for it. I'm gonna ramble for a second and just go ahead and pause the video. Basically, the way this works out is from this is the Reactor RedNet port, and all these lines represent cables. This line here, this line here, this line here. The arrows represent the direction the signal is going to go to. Each of these big black squares is a page in the programmable redneck controller, is what that represents. So anybody that's familiar with coding or familiar with electrical engineering, this will probably look a little bit familiar to you. Basically, it's his own, Xavier made this as his own little pseudocode. It's this little pretend chart of being professional looking. It looks pretty good. And this is all going to be your variable sides. So when it comes from the thing, you're going to want to make, the first page is going to be a greater than or equal, and it'll go down. The second page is going to be an SR latch. Third page is going to be a counter, and the fourth page is going to be a wave square timer. These two squares over here are just modifiers for this, so don't think this is not its own page, and this is not its own page. I don't know why he did that. It's a little bit confusing to me. But anyway, it's 4 pages long, basically, is how this works out. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch back over here to the game in a second here to show you guys how to do this, but I'll put a little image in the corner of the screen here in a second. But basically what happens is you make a greater than square and you find the Q side, you go down, you set Q side to variable 0, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the game really quick here. So let me go ahead and click over here, doink, and let's get that image up. There we go, in the corner here. So basically what happens is the first page, we're going to go down here, we're going to go down to the greater than or equal, which is going to be in the G's. There it is, greater than or equal. And according to the controller down here, it looks like we're going to need firm reactor port. We're going to want orange. So let's go to A. Is orange. And then B, he said constant 10, according to the chart. Okay? And then that's input and output. Up is orange. So that's A. And then Q, down, is variable var 0. So leave that on 0. So that's it for that page, according to the chart down here. Next page, click next. And then this is going to go down to SR latch. So we'll scroll down here. SR latch, not gated, just a regular SR latch. And the whole thing is, this is only 4 pages, so we have 2 of 6 pages to play with. So this should just be, you shouldn't need to upgrade your redneck controller at all. This should all just fit. And I'm just going to do this really quick. So R is going to be variable 0. Okay. And then S is going to be variable 2, apparently. And then apparently these say O, but I think they're supposed to be Q, is what he said. 0 white. So input output up white. And then SR latch. No, this one could be just left alone. So what this is telling us is that, let me get a redneck cable. I think that's what I fucked up, actually, now that I think about it. I think that's the part that I fucked up. You need to, not this one, on white. So I think my reactor in my base, I had this on orange. So I think that's the reason why my reactor never worked, is because I think when I did mine, I put the this on orange. This needs to be set to pulse, click commit. And so I think it needs to be set to white. So that goes to the reactor. So yeah. Anyway, according to this image here, we got down to, I think that's it for that, for the SR latch. Let's go next. And now we have a counter right there. And his counter says pre is 50. So we're going to set this all the way up to 50. That's going to take a few clicks. I feel like I'm jerking off, but just with my finger. There we go. Increment is variable 3. There we go, variable 3. And Q is going to be variable 2. There we go. And then that should be it for that. And the next, last page is wave square timer. This one there. And all that this one needs to be is PD is 30. So constant 30. And that should be it. Oh, variable 3, excuse me. There we go. Hey, it turned on, look at that. Interesting. So basically what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to turn this on and leave it on for a few minutes, and then I guess every couple seconds it checks to see the energy buffer. Doesn't make any damn sense. I think orange is supposed to be casing damp energy amount. I think that's supposed to be an orange. I don't think I ever did that either. That might be also why my thing didn't. Because how's it going to tell? Yeah, greater than or equal to 10 on the orange. Let me check with Xavier really quick here. This is going to be a hot check, guys. Actually, no, I'll pause the video. Hang on. Okay, guys. I poked Xavier, and I poked Xavier, and I poked Xavier until he finally decided to log on and check and see what I was doing wrong. And he's got a redneck controller meter thingy jiggy that he's smacking my stuff with.
Yep, it's just letting me know what variables are active and basically what the hell it's doing as it's doing it.
Rednet meter. Rednet meter. There it is. Ah, it's just a gold nugget and a redstone and some plastic sheeting. Big fucking deal. Yeah, so he's double checking over all the control pieces I had in here. We got the orange section set to output energy amount, and the white section to toggle the thing. Is the white section supposed to be set to activate on pulse or level?
I'm not sure really. I didn't mess with that setting. I left it whatever its default was.
I always thought it should have been pulse, but I guess we can switch to level and see what happens. Nothing happens. Cool.
Actually, level is important because... Wait, that's for the powering. Okay. Because level's important for the power level one. Because it outputs RedNet signal relative to how full the capacitor is inside. So if it's at 10%, it'll emit 10 on the cable. But if it's at 100%, it'll emit 100.
I don't think that's important for the white section, though, because if you click on the orange section, that goes away. Like highlighted with the little green area there. I think that's only for the white toggling on and off. I'll leave it on level, though, because you said you left it on level for your actual one in our actual gameplay, and it works just fine.
Well, what I actually did is I used this sucker over here and just told it toggle input and set from signal. Oops.
Oh, now you've done it.
Forgetting I'm in creative.
You're supposed to be fixing things, not wrecking everything up!
What? If you hit it, it's supposed to work, right?
I guess. Well, that goes to... When you said that goes to reactor, that goes on the orange signal, right?
Yeah, the 2 reactor is orange signal, I think.
So it shouldn't matter if it touches the redstone cable or if it goes into this thing anyway. Oh, wait. Hang on. I think we have these backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually backwards. Orange is supposed to come from the reactor, which is emitting the energy output percent, or energy level percent. That's supposed to come from the reactor, and then to the reactor is supposed to be the on-off, which would be white.
Yeah, that thing. Wait, no. Huh?
I think it's how it is. I'm going to check your variables inside the RedNet controller without left-clicking.
Oh, okay. So I did have it correct the first time, guys, so ignore that switch around. According to the chart, the firm reactor is orange, so that should be correct.
And actually, just in case, I created a backup using a memory card. So in case of accidental left-clicking, we won't lose everything.
In case of accidental creative mode destruction?
Yes. We'll call it rage clicking.
Rage click?
Stupid vlog.
Hey.
Rage click.
My builder's wand greater than your rage click.
Anyway, I do think there's still an error in the sheet that I gave you. There is actually no variable 1 anywhere, and I think I see something set to variable 1.
Oh. So you gave me a flawed sheet, so really this whole thing is your fault.
Yeah, but I found the problem, so I'm fixing what was my fault. Taking responsibility.
Good. SR latch variable. Yeah, there's no S. Oh, SS. Oh, wait, maybe I didn't click that enough. Maybe that should be 2.
Yeah, that one should be 2.
Oh, but did you just set it to 1 and I just changed it back to 2?
No, what I did is I clicked off of it, so I wasn't looking at it anymore after I saw it change to 2.
Ah. Variable 3, Q is 2. Yeah. According to the shark chart here. Woohoo, fancy.
Yep, this lets us know what signals are what.
Do you have to make it so you have to walk around the whole thing like that?
Well, can add other cable. Add cables where those were.
Just put them on the front of that so we can just look at it. There. See?
Alright, the one on the right is set to whatever the orange signal is on that, and then the left one is the white signal.
Well, orange shouldn't be giving a signal at all, should it? It's the battery. It's the one from the battery percentage?
Correct.
Doingus? Majigger?
Correct.
Thingamanini?
All of those.
All the things? Ha! Gay!
Forever and ever. So right now, variable 15 is active, which is sending out a white signal.
Variable 15. We aren't doing shit with variable 15.
No, it's variable 1 is set to 15, which means high signal.
No. Well, there was that issue where in the SR latch, S was variable 1 for a while there. I just switched it to 2 because the chart said 2. I must have misclicked that when I created the thing.
Alright. Toggle the reactor and see what happens.
Dick all happens.
Okay, well, for the time being, let's disconnect some of the cells so the capacitor charges. There we go. That's climbing fast.
Ah! Ah, it turned off!
Yep. Now set something up to drain it, like put a capacitor back on. Or cell. There we go. It's not turning back on.
Nah.
So here's where our problem's at. It's not getting toggled back. Actually, it might not be getting toggled back because the timer hasn't ticked over yet, and the timer is set up to occur every 5 minutes.
So it only checks every 5 minutes to see if it needs to turn on or not?
Yeah. If you want, you can change it to, say, the testing features I used was 10 in the counter and then 10 in the timer. So I set pre to 10 in the counter and then the period to 10 in the wave square. We got signal. Main screen has turned on.
Main screen turn on.
Yep, it's charging over here.
Ah, turn off. Bam. It looks so snazzy with those little display screens on there.
Yeah, I rather like having those there. It lets me see what it's doing actually in the reactor without opening it up.
So basically now, if it's 10 and 10, it's checking every 100 ticks. Oh, it turned back on. Look at that! Whoo! Look at that!
Yep.
Fancy sass.
As it is, it's a little inconsistent because the timer is running independent of when the thingy turns off. So every 100 ticks, it's sending a pulse to the reactor that says, hey, turn on. So there might be a time when it lines up just right to where it gets turned on right, gets the signal to turn on while it's on, just before it needs to turn off.
Which is why you had it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But the problem that I would think would run into is what happens if you've got your cells in your base for your battery. You've got like a couple of resonant cells or whatever, and they like completely deplete before the 5-minute timer turns the thing back on. Then what happens? Then you're out of power, right?
Yeah, you're out of power at that point, so you need to either adjust the timer or give yourself a bigger capacitor.
So then explain to the YouTubes for me, if you would, why this is better than my method of just making a timer to turn it on and off every couple minutes.
It's pretty much just a dynamic way of making it work. Sends, I think, a little bit less signal. Stops turning this on and off when it's not needed. As you can see right now, it's still on and running and charging. So let's say you have a massive power draw at some point. This will stay on and let you charge your batteries a little bit faster. Faster than if it was on for 5, off for 5, on for 5, off for 5.
The answer he just gave YouTubes was that it will not turn off if it needs power, and it will not turn off and turn on if it doesn't.
It means words.
Words, 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 words.
Exactly. It works, it involves electrical engineering, and I'm happy with it.
You want to pose with me for the YouTube screenshot? Sweet. Thank you for coming on and troubleshooting my fuck up. It turns out your chart was slightly flawed and my variable click was slightly different. So hope that was clear as mud to everybody that watched. Gracias, Xavier, for troubleshooting me.
No problem.
As it was, this is going to conclude our reactor, big reactors build spotlight for the day. I hope everybody had an OP time. Make sure to like, favorite, follow, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, /RobTheOPGamer. Peace. Say peace.
Peace.